So a couple years ago, this is what I used to look like. Lots of body fat, not very much muscle, and just an overall not very great or aesthetic physique. So I made the decision that I wanted to change that. And I, like most guys, thought that there was really only two ways to go. I thought that you could either go on an enormous bulk and eat in a huge calorie surplus and get really fat and gain a bunch of muscle, which is the route that I chose to go, by the way, which led to me looking like this. Or I thought that you could go the other route, which was to go on the starvation diet, go on a major calorie deficit and get shredded and lose a bunch of muscle, but get lean in the process. I think that this probably comes from a pretty old school bodybuilder style narrative, but the fact of the matter is it's just not really super good information for the average person who's just trying to get healthy and look good. So in today's video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I was able to both lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, because ultimately that's the sweet spot that every natural lifter knows that you want to be, where you're getting leaner but actively gaining muscle at the same time. Now I'm going to give you 2 practical tips and 1 mindset trick, and I think if you do all 3 of these things together, that you'll be able to seriously change your physique and look how you've always wanted to look. Now, the first thing to understand is whether you're overweight or underweight, whether you're bulking or cutting, you don't really want to jump to the extremes of either end. So if you're trying to gain weight right now, I don't recommend jumping into a huge calorie surplus. And if you're trying to lose weight, I don't recommend jumping into a huge calorie deficit. A matter of fact, I think the perfect sweet spot for body recomposition is eating right around maintenance calories. If you're not sure what that means, maintenance calories just refers to the amount of calories that you need to simply maintain your current body composition. Now, if you eat at maintenance calories, but then you also implement weightlifting into your regimen, a lot of times what you'll see is slow incremental fat loss and slow incremental muscle gain. And that's the one really important thing that I wish somebody would have told me at the very beginning of recomping, is that you just have to be okay with body recomping taking a little bit longer than what you might expect. As a natural lifter, a body recomposition is a slow, controlled process. And that's a very good thing, because it means that you're not gonna lose a ton of weight in an unhealthy pace. And it also means that you're not gonna get really fat really quickly, like I did when I first started bulking. In my opinion, it's totally worth it to do a body recomposition, a more slow, controlled process. You're just gonna feel better overall. Your hormones are gonna be able to stay in balance. You're not gaining an excessive amount of fat or dropping an excessive amount of weight, but you'll still be able to see visible, noticeable progress in the mirror and at the gym. All right, now the next piece of advice that I have for you is to switch your diet over to a whole foods diet. When we're doing body recomposition, we have to understand that because we're not gonna be in an excessive deficit or an excessive bulk, that we really want to make sure that we're juicing and getting all of the nutrients possible that we can with the amount of energy that we're putting into our body, with the food that we're putting in. We want to be selective about how we're treating our body. Now, I think the best way to do this is to switch over to a whole foods diet. You want to focus on eating things that are clean, eating things that are healthy, eating things that are high in protein, and eating things that are actually going to be utilized as fuel for your body. I think this is going to be the X factor in making sure that your body recomposition actually goes how you want it to go. So examples of good whole foods would be things like ground beef, steak, chicken, eggs, milk, honey, fruit, the kind of stuff that your ancestors have been eating for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And then avoiding the processed food like fast food, candy, sugar, all the stuff that's not gonna be providing fuel, that's wasted calories. I think eliminating as much of that out of your diet is really gonna be helpful in making sure that we get a successful body recomposition. And by the way, guys, if this is your very first time starting a diet or getting into the gym and you've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, I know that there's a lot of information out there. Matter of fact, when I first started, it was pretty confusing for me. I probably wasted years on end trying things that worked, trying things that didn't work, and getting a lot of conflicting information from different people. So if you're in that position too, then go check out my course in the description down below. It's called the Beachbody. It's everything that I know, just so you can skip all the confusion. You don't have to waste a bunch of time, and you can literally just follow a step-by-step plan to get the body that you've always wanted. So go check that out. All right, guys, now this is probably gonna be the most important tip in the entire video that I will tell you. This is what made the biggest difference in my physique, and it's not some hack at the gym. It's not some hack on calories or whatever you're eating. It's simply a mindset shift. And the mindset shift is to switch yourself from passive thinking to active thinking, or in other words, you might call it intentionality. What intentionality means is basically understanding and being very intentional about what you're doing, the things that you're putting into your body, and how that will affect you going forward. It's asking yourself if this is the right decision before you eat a donut. It's asking yourself, is this really gonna be something that I am happy that I did when you are about to eat food, or whether you're deciding to work out or not. It's just being very intentional and active and not being passive. I think that passivity is honestly what leads people to having a bad physique in the first place. It's not necessarily that people choose to go out and eat a bunch of junk food, although it is a choice, but it's not necessarily that they're going out there and saying, oh, I want to go out and be unhealthy and get fat today. It's more just a matter of not really actively thinking or being intentional about your actions in your life. You kind of just lull through life. In the process of doing that, you make a lot of really small micro decisions day by day that add up over time. And that's really the key, is it's a compound effect. Whether you're doing the right decisions or whether you're doing the wrong decisions. The reason why it's so sneaky, we'll say, is that those decisions in the moment, whether they're the right decisions or the wrong decisions, don't have an immediate effect on you. If you eat the chocolate chip cookie, you're not gonna immediately go in the mirror and see yourself gaining 20 pounds. Same thing, if you eat a steak with fruit and you go to the gym, you're not gonna immediately go in the mirror and see yourself jacked and shredded. But if you do those things over time, those things do compound. And everyone knows that the compounding effect is ultimately what makes the big differences in the long run. So being intentional and really just asking yourself, so just having like even just a very short, brief moment of reflection before making a decision throughout your day and being intentional about what you're doing can make an entire difference in your life. It can literally be the difference between getting in shape and not getting in shape. So that's what made the biggest difference for me, is just being intentional about my actions. And I hope that that makes sense. I hope that you're able to take that and implement that into your life as well. But anyways, guys, I hope that this video was helpful. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.